The emergency alarm screamed through the Galactic Council chambers. Ambassador Kirok's four eyes widened as the distress signal filled the main display. The message was breaking apart, filled with static, but the words were clear enough. This is Valerian research vessel, Brightness. Main engines destroyed. Life support failing. Position, Corvin Nebula, Sector 7. Pirates in the area. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. Kirok's scaled hands trembled as he pulled up the location data. The Corvin Nebula. That was bad, very bad. The nebula was filled with asteroids and electromagnetic interference. Most ships could not navigate through it safely. How many crew? Asked Council Member Thessa, her tentacles curling with worry. 12 Valerians, Kirok replied. All civilians. Scientists studying nebula formations. The council chamber filled with worried voices. Every member knew what this meant. The Valerians were a peaceful species, gentle researchers who had never hurt anyone. They did not deserve to die alone in that dangerous place. Nearest council rescue ship? Thessa asked. A young aide checked the display. 6 standard cycles away, council member. 6 cycles. Everyone in the room knew the Valerians did not have that much time. Their life support was failing. They might have 2 cycles at most. Silence fell over the chamber like a heavy blanket. Then another signal appeared on the display. This one was different, stronger. The computer struggled to identify it. Unknown vessel responding to distress call, the aide announced. Species designation human. Estimated arrival time 18 hours. The chamber exploded with noise. Humans? Kirok felt his blood run cold. He pulled up the species database with shaking hands. There it was. Earth. Classification. Deathworld Class 12. The highest danger rating in the entire database. No. Kirok whispered. They cannot be serious, but the signal was real. A human ship was already moving toward the nebula, moving fast, impossibly fast. Council Member Thessa raised one tentacle for silence. Does anyone have information about these humans? Kirok swallowed hard. They made first contact with us 15 years ago. Since then, they have mostly kept to themselves, trading some, exploring. But Thessa, their world. He gestured at the display. Look at their world. The database entry for Earth appeared on the main screen. Every council member stared in horror. Gravity, 1.0 G. That was considered very high. Most species evolved on worlds with 0.6 to 0.8 G. Heavy gravity made strong but often slow species. Atmospheric oxygen, 21%. That was dangerous. High oxygen meant fires could spread easily. Most species breathe 12 to 15% oxygen atmospheres. Climate. Extreme variations. Temperature ranges from -40 to +50 degrees Celsius. Severe weather patterns including hurricanes, tornadoes, and blizzards. Tectonic activity, high, active volcanoes. Frequent earthquakes. Native life highly competitive. Thousands of predator species. Venomous creatures. Parasitic organisms. Bacteria and viruses that can kill in days. By the stars, Thessa breathed. How does anything survive there? That is not the worst part, Kirok said quietly. He pulled up another section. Look at what the humans are. The biological analysis appeared. Humans were pursuit predators. They had evolved by chasing their prey across long distances until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They had forward-facing eyes like all predators. They could see in low light. They showed their teeth when they were happy, which confused and frightened other species. Their bodies were dense with muscle and heavy bones. They could heal from injuries that would kill most species. They could go days without food. They could drink liquids that were poison to many other species. They ate plants that used chemical weapons to defend themselves, and they enjoyed it. They are monsters, someone whispered. They are what their world made them, Kirok said. The question is, do we warn the Valerians? The debate began immediately. Some council members wanted to tell the Valerians to refuse human help. Others pointed out that the Valerians would die without help. The humans were the only ones close enough to save them. Finally, Thessa made the decision. We accept the human offer, but we send our own peacekeepers behind them. Just in case. In case of what? Someone asked. Thessa's tentacles curled tight. In case the humans are more dangerous than we think. Far away in the deep darkness of space, Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair aboard the UNS Indomitable. Her crew was already preparing for the rescue. They had heard the distress call while doing a routine patrol. 18 hours to reach the nebula. It would be tight, but they could make it. Engineering, how are we looking? Sarah asked. Engines are good, Captain. Rodriguez replied over the comm. I can give you a little extra speed if you need it. Do it. Every minute counts. Sarah pulled up the information about the Valerians. She had met a few of them at the last trade station. Nice people. Curious about everything. They had asked her hundreds of questions about Earth. She had tried to answer honestly, but she kept seeing fear in their large eyes. It was strange. Other species seemed scared of humans. Sarah did not understand why. Sure, Earth was a tough place to grow up, but that just made humans careful. It made them value life. When you lived on a world where everything could kill you, you learned to help each other survive. Jackson, check the medical bay, Sarah ordered. Make sure we have supplies for Valerian biology. Already on it, Captain, the medic replied. I downloaded their medical database. Should be ready for anything. Okonkwo, security status? Armed and ready, Captain. If those pirates show up, we will handle them. Sarah nodded. Pirates. The report said there were pirates in the area. That complicated things. But the Indomitable was a rescue ship, not a warship. Their job was to save people, not fight. Still, Sarah had been in the military before joining the rescue service. So had most of her crew. They knew how to fight if they had no other choice. Tanaka, plot the best course through the nebula, Sarah ordered her pilot. Already working on it, Captain. It is going to be tricky. Lots of asteroids. Lots of interference. But I can get us through. Sarah smiled. Tanaka was the best pilot she had ever seen. If anyone could navigate the Corvin Nebula, it was him. All right, people. We have scared scientists who need our help. Let us show them what humans can do. Sarah leaned back in her chair. Take us to FTL maximum speed. The Indomitable's engines flared bright blue. The ship jumped to faster than light speed, racing toward the nebula, racing toward people who needed help. Behind her command chair, Sarah did not see the display showing the Council's database entry for Earth. She did not see the warning labels. She did not know that half the galaxy thought humans were terrifying monsters from a nightmare world. She only knew that someone needed help, and humans never left anyone behind. In the Corvin Nebula, Captain Velara of the Brightness watched her crew slowly dying. The life support was failing. The temperature was dropping. The air was getting thin. She had sent the distress call, but she did not expect anyone to come in time. Then her communications officer looked up with wide eyes. Captain, we have a response. From who? A species called humans. They say they will arrive in 18 hours. Velara had never heard of humans, but right now she did not care. Someone was coming. Someone was trying to save them. Tell them we will hold on, Velara said softly. Tell them we will survive until they get here. She looked around at her crew, at the scientists who had become her family during this research mission. They were cold and scared and running out of air. But now they had hope. Somewhere in the darkness, someone was coming to help them. Velara just hoped they would arrive in time. The Indomitable dropped out of FTL speed at the edge of the Corvin Nebula. Captain Sarah Chen immediately felt her stomach tighten. The nebula looked like a wall of purple and red gas clouds, filled with spinning rocks and debris. Sensors showed electromagnetic interference everywhere. Tanaka, can you get us through? Sarah asked. Her pilot studied the displays, his hands already moving across the controls. It will be rough, Captain. I will need to fly manual. The computer cannot handle this kind of chaos. Then show me what you can do. Tanaka grinned. Hold on to something. The Indomitable dove into the nebula. Immediately, alarms started screaming. The ship shook as they passed through pockets of charged gas. Asteroids tumbled past them, some as small as cars, others as big as buildings. Tanaka's hands moved like lightning. He twisted the ship left, then right, then dove down. He was reading the asteroid patterns, predicting where they would move next. To him, it was like a dance. On the Council observation ship following far behind, Ambassador Kirok watched in disbelief. That ship just entered the nebula at full speed, he said. That is suicide. Humans, his aide whispered. Maybe they do not value their lives, but that was not true. Humans valued their lives very much. They just valued other people's lives even more. Inside the brightness, Captain Velara heard her sensors beep. Something is coming through the nebula, her communications officer said. Moving fast. Very fast. The humans? It must be. No one else would fly like that. Velara felt hope and fear mixing in her chest. What kind of species could fly through the Corvin Nebula like it was nothing? 16 hours after leaving their patrol route, the Indomitable pulled alongside the Brightness. Sarah stood up from her command chair. All right, people. Rescue formation. Jackson Rodriguez Okonkwo, you are with me. Tanaka, keep the ship steady. The rescue team put on their EVA suits. The suits were light by human standards, designed for easy movement. They did not know that other species considered them equal to heavy combat armor. Sarah led her team through the airlock and across the gap to the Brightness. The Valerian ship was dark except for dim emergency lights. Sarah's helmet display showed the temperature inside, -5 degrees Celsius. Cold in here, Jackson commented. Focus, people, Sarah said, but she agreed. It was chilly, not dangerous, but uncomfortable. They entered through an emergency airlock. The inner door opened and Sarah got her first look at the Valerian crew. They were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. They looked fragile. They were huddled together, wrapped in emergency blankets shaking from the cold. One of them stepped forward. She was wearing a captain's uniform. You came, she whispered. You actually came. Captain Sarah Chen, United Nations ship Indomitable, Sarah said. We are here to help. Where you're injured. Captain Velara led them deeper into the ship. Sarah counted as they walked. 8 Valerians still alive. 4 were unconscious. The others were barely moving. Jackson immediately went to work. He pulled out his medical scanner and started checking each Valerian. They are hypothermic and oxygen deprived, he reported. But I can stabilize them. He began setting up emergency medical equipment. Velara watched in confusion as Jackson worked without slowing down. The temperature was well below freezing for Valerians. The air was toxic from a leak in the environmental system, yet this human medic moved like he was working in a comfortable hospital. Are you not affected by the cold? Velara asked. Jackson looked up, surprised. It is just a bit chilly, ma'am. Nothing serious. Velara felt her mind's reel. A bit chilly. Her crew was dying from the cold, and this human called it a bit chilly. Rodriguez had moved to the engine room. He took one look at the damaged systems and whistled. This is bad, Captain. Someone knew what they were doing. This was not an accident. Pirates? Sarah asked over the comm. Looks like it. They hit the engines in just the right spot. Wanted the ship disabled but not destroyed. They were planning to come back for salvage. Can you fix it? Give me 2 hours. Rodriguez pulled off his helmet and put on just a respirator mask. The air was toxic, filled with chemicals from the damaged systems. But Rodriguez only needed to filter out the worst of it. His human lungs could handle the rest. Velara watched through the engine room window. He removed his helmet, she said in shock. He is breathing the air. Rodriguez grew up in a mining colony, Jackson explained while working on a patient. Breathed worse air than this his whole childhood. He will be fine. Velara realized something then. These humans were operating in an environment that was killing her crew, and they were acting like it was just another day at work. Sarah stood in the corridor checking her scanner. The ship's systems were failing everywhere. Life support was gone. Power was dying. The hull had microfractures that would become big fractures soon. Captain? Tanaka's voice came over the comm. I am picking up something on sensors. 3 ships approaching. Configuration matches known pirate vessels. Sarah felt her jaw tighten. Time to arrival? 20 minutes, 20 minutes. Rodriguez needed 2 hours to fix the engines. They did not have 2 hours. Sarah made her decision. Tanaka, bring the Indomitable closer. We are going to dock hard and transfer the Valerians to our ship. Rodriguez, forget the full repair. Just get their engines stable enough to fly at sublight speed. I can do that in 20 minutes, Rodriguez said. Do it. Jackson, start moving the patients. The rescue team moved fast. They were used to working under pressure. Earth had taught humans to move quickly when danger was close. Velara watched as the humans lifted her crew members and carried them to the airlock. They moved through the cold and toxic air without slowing down. They did not complain. They did not hesitate. Your species, Velara said to Sarah. You are very strong. Sarah looked surprised. Not really. We are pretty average for humans. You should see our special forces. Velara could not imagine anything stronger than what she was seeing. These average humans were performing tasks that would require her species to use mechanical assistance. In the engine room, Rodriguez worked with speed and focus. He ripped out damaged components and replaced them with parts from the Indomitable. His hands moved confidently even though one wrong move could cause an explosion. 5 minutes, Captain, he reported. Make it 3, Sarah said. Those pirates are getting close. 3 minutes. Got it. On the bridge of the approaching pirate ships, Commander Krell studied his sensors. The brightness was still there, dead in space. But now there was another ship with it. A small ship. Unknown design. Hail them, Krell ordered. Tell them to leave. The brightness is our salvage. The communication went out. Krell expected the other ship to run. Most ships did when pirates showed up, but the response surprised him. This is Captain Chen of the UNS Indomitable. The brightness is under our protection. Leave immediately or face consequences, Krell laughed. The other pirates laughed with him. That little ship was threatening them. They had 3 heavy cruisers. They had weapons and shields and experience. Little ship, you are outgunned 3-1. Leave now or we will destroy you and take both vessels. There was a pause. Then the human captain spoke again. Her voice was calm, cold, like ice. Negative. Leave immediately or face consequences. This is your only warning. Krell stopped laughing. There was something in that human's voice. Something dangerous. But he had a reputation to maintain. He could not back down from one small ship. All vessels prepare to fire. Krell ordered. On the Indomitable, Sarah watched the pirate ships move into attack formation. Behind her, Jackson had just finished loading the last Valerian into the medical bay. Rodriguez reported the brightness engines were stable. Tanaka, undock us, Sarah ordered. Okonkwo, battle stations. Captain, Velara said from where she stood on the bridge. Sarah had let her stay to coordinate with her crew. You cannot fight 3 ships. Please save your crew. Leave us. Sarah turned and looked at the Valerian captain. Her eyes were hard. Determined. Captain Velara, humans have one rule that we never break. We do not leave people behind, ever. The pirate ships opened fire. Sarah smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator who had been challenged. All right, people, she said. Let us show them why you do not mess with a rescue ship. The Indomitable's engines flared bright. The ship moved forward directly toward the pirates. On the Council observation ship, Ambassador Kirok watched his sensors in disbelief. They are attacking, he whispered. The humans are attacking 3 pirate vessels. Madness, his aide said. They will be destroyed, but Kirok was not so sure. He had read the reports about Earth, about the world that made these humans, and he suddenly realized something. Humans were not prey animals. They were predators, and predators did not run from a fight. The first pirate shot hit the Indomitable's shields. The ship rocked, but Sarah kept her feet steady. Years of training on Earth's heavy gravity made her stronger than she looked. Shields at 80%, Tanaka reported. They pack a punch. Then let us punch back, Sarah said. Target their weapons systems. Fire. The Indomitable's weapons blazed. The shots were precise, calculated. They were not trying to destroy the pirate ships. Just disable them. Sarah did not believe in killing unless there was no other choice. The pirate commander Krell watched in surprise as one of his weapon arrays exploded. That small ship had good aim. Very good aim. All ships focus fire on that vessel, Krell ordered. Destroy it. The 3 pirate cruisers opened fire together. The space around the Indomitable filled with weapons fire. Tanaka's hands moved across the controls, twisting the ship through impossible angles. He dodged left, rolled right, dove down. On the Council observation ship, Kirok watched his displays with growing disbelief. That ship just pulled 9 Gs in that turn, he said. The crew should be unconscious. Or dead, his aide added quietly. But inside the Indomitable, the crew was very much conscious. Sarah felt the pressure of the turn pushing her into her chair. 9 Gs was intense, but human pilots trained at those levels. Their bodies were built to handle it. Evolved to chase prey across long distances, human cardiovascular systems were incredibly efficient. That all you got? Okonkwo called out from the weapons station. He was grinning. The security chief had been a Marine before joining the rescue service. He missed the action sometimes. Focus, Okonkwo, Sarah said. But she was smiling too. Humans were strange that way. Danger made them sharper, more focused. Their bodies released chemicals that increased their strength and reaction speed. Earth had taught them to perform their best when death was close. Captain Velara stood on the bridge holding onto a railing to keep from falling. She watched these humans work and felt a cold fear growing in her chest. Not fear of the humans, fear for anyone who ever made humans angry. They moved so fast. They thought so quickly, and they seemed to enjoy the challenge. "Rodriguez, how are those Valerians?" Sarah asked. "Stable, Captain," the engineer replied from the medical bay. "Jackson has them in emergency pods. They are safe. Good. Tanaka, bring us around. Target Pirate Vessel 2. Hit their engines." The Indomitable spun in a way that should have torn the ship apart. But human engineers built things tough. They had to. "Everything on Earth tried to kill you, so you learned to build strong." The shot hit perfectly. Pirate Vessel 2's engines sparked and died. The ship went dark, floating helplessly. "2 more to go," Okonkwo said. Krell felt sweat running down his scales. That was impossible. That little ship was dismantling his fleet. His much larger, better-armed fleet. "Ship 3, ram them," Krell ordered in desperation. "Full speed. Crush them." Pirate Vessel 3 turned and accelerated toward the Indomitable. It was bigger, heavier. If it hit them, it would destroy the human ship. "Captain, they are ramming us," Tanaka said calmly. "I see it," Sarah replied. Her mind worked fast, calculating angles and speeds. Then she smiled. "Tanaka, hold position until I say. Then dive at my mark." "Captain, that is cutting it really close, and trust me." The pirate ship accelerated. Closer, closer. Valara watched in horror. The humans were not moving. They were going to be hit. "Now," Sarah said. Tanaka's hands moved. The Indomitable dropped suddenly, diving down. The pirate ship shot past them, missing by meters. But Sarah was not done. "Okonkwo, target their belly as they pass. Full spread." Okonkwo fired every weapon the ship had. The shots tore into the pirate vessel's underside, ripping through their least protected area. The pirate ship's engines exploded. It went spinning out of control, emergency systems screaming. 3 for 3, Okonkwo said with satisfaction. Only Krell's ship remained. The pirate commander stared at his displays. 3 ships. He had brought 3 heavy cruisers, and 1 small human vessel had destroyed them all in less than 10 minutes. "Commander, should we retreat?" his weapons officer asked. Krell wanted to, but if he ran from 1 small ship, he would lose all respect. No pirate would follow a coward. "Prepare boarding pods," Krell ordered. "We will take that ship by force. Our warriors are strong. We will tear through their hull and kill them one by one." It was a desperate plan, but it was all Krell had left. Sarah saw the boarding pods launch from the pirate ship. 6 pods, each carrying 5 pirates. 30 trained fighters coming to take her ship. "Okonkwo, looks like you get to have some fun," Sarah said. "Take a security team to the port airlock. Repel boarders." "With pleasure, Captain." Okonkwo grabbed his weapon and headed for the airlock. 3 other security officers went with him. They sealed their helmets and waited. The boarding pods hit the hull with heavy thuds. Cutting tools began burning through the metal. Valara looked at Sarah in confusion. "You only sent 4 people?" "The pirates have 30 warriors. 4 humans," Sarah corrected. "That should be enough." Valara did not understand. How could 4 humans fight 30 pirates? But then she remembered. These were the same humans who worked in freezing toxic environments like it was nothing. The same humans who pulled 9Gs and smiled about it. Maybe 4 humans was enough. The first boarding pod broke through. 5 Corvan pirates jumped into the corridor. They were big creatures covered in scales and muscles. They carried heavy weapons. They saw Okonkwo and his team standing calmly at the other end of the corridor. "Surrender, humans," the lead pirate growled. "You are outnumbered." Okonkwo shook his head. "No, you are outnumbered. You just do not know it yet." The pirates laughed. Then they charged. What happened next would be recorded by the ship's cameras and studied by military academicians for years. Humans were pursuit predators. They had evolved chasing down prey that was faster than them. That made them patient, strategic. They did not rush. They waited for the right moment. Okonkwo waited until the pirates were close. Then he moved. Humans were fast. Not as fast as some species over short distances. But human reaction times were incredible. Their hand-eye coordination was the result of throwing rocks and spears at prey for millions of years. Okonkwo's shots were perfect. 3 pirates dropped before the others even realized the fight had started. His team moved with him, covering angles, providing support. They fought like a unit, like a pack of predators. The remaining pirates crashed into them. Hand-to-hand combat began. The pirates learned something terrible then. Human bones were dense. Human muscles were layered and efficient. On their high-gravity world, humans had evolved to be incredibly durable. One pirate swung a heavy blade at Okonkwo. It hit his armor and bounced off. Okonkwo grabbed the pirate's arm and twisted. The sound of breaking bone echoed in the corridor. Another pirate tried to tackle a human security officer. The impact would have crushed most species. But the human barely moved. He grabbed the pirate and threw him against the wall. The pirate did not get up. It took 3 minutes. 3 minutes for 4 humans to defeat 30 trained pirate warriors. When it was over, Okonkwo stood in the corridor, breathing a little hard but otherwise fine. Around him, pirates groaned in pain or lay unconscious. "Bridge, this is Okonkwo," he reported calmly. "Borders neutralized. No injuries to our team." On the pirate command ship, Krell watched his display in horror. All his boarding teams gone. Defeated by 4 humans in 3 minutes. What are they? He whispered. His answer came quickly. The Indomitable fired one last shot. It hit Krell's engines perfectly. His ship went dark. Sarah opened a channel to the pirate ship. "Commander Krell, this is Captain Chen. Your fleet is disabled. Your borders are captured. You have 2 choices. Surrender peacefully, or we disable your life support and wait. Choose now." Krell looked around his darkened bridge. He looked at his crew, who were all staring at him with fear in their eyes. He thought about those humans. About how they fought. About how they won. "We surrender," Krell said quietly. On the Indomitable's bridge, Sarah nodded. "Smart choice. Stay in your ship. Council peacekeepers will arrive soon to take you into custody." She closed the channel and turned to Velara. The Valerian captain was staring at her with wide eyes. "Your species," Velara said slowly. "How do you survive on your world?" Sarah looked confused. "Earth? It is just home. Little rough sometimes, but you adapt." Velara realized then that the humans did not understand. They did not see themselves as special. They thought this was normal. Fighting 3 ships and winning. Working in toxic environments. Pulling 9 Gs. Defeating 30 warriors with 4 people. To them, this was just another day. "Captain Chen," Velara said carefully, "I need to tell you something. In the entire galaxy, there are thousands of species. Most of us evolved on gentle worlds. Stable climates. Low gravity. Few predators. We reached the stars because we had time to think, to build, to dream." Sarah listened quietly. "But your species," Velara continued, "you evolved on a world that tried to kill you every day. High gravity. Dangerous weather. Predators everywhere. You should have died. Your species should have gone extinct. But instead you survived. You adapted. You became strong." Velara took a breath. "You call your world Earth. We call it a Class 12 death world. The most dangerous classification we have. And you are the children of that world." The council station orbited a peaceful blue gas giant. It was a place of diplomacy and trade, where hundreds of species met to solve problems with words instead of weapons. The station had never seen anything like what arrived 3 days after the Corvin Nebula incident. The Indomitable docked smoothly, bringing with it 8 rescued Valerians and 30 captured pirates. But more importantly, it brought stories. Stories that spread through the station like wildfire. In the medical wing, doctors from a dozen species examined the Valerians. They were all healthy, though still shaken from their experience. But they would not stop talking about the humans who saved them. They worked in conditions that should have killed them, one Valerian scientist said to a group of medical staff. Negative temperatures, toxic air. They just put on masks and kept working. And the battle, another Valerian added. 4 humans defeated 30 Corvin pirates. I watched it on the security cameras. It took 3 minutes. The doctors listened with growing disbelief. Some of them pulled up the database entry for Earth. What they read made their equivalent of blood run cold. In the station's main conference room, Ambassador Kirok presented his report to the full Galactic Council. He showed them recordings from his observation ship. The council members watched in silence as the Indomitable fought 3 pirate vessels and won. "This is impossible," Council Member Thessa said. "No single ship should be able to do that." "It is a human ship," Kirok replied quietly. "Crewed by humans. From Earth." He pulled up the planet's profile on the main display. Every council member read it. Many of them had to read it twice to believe what they were seeing. 1.0 gravity? Someone whispered. How do they even move? 21% oxygen? That is a fire hazard. Look at the predator list. Thousands of species that hunt and kill. Active volcanoes. Hurricanes. Earthquakes. How is this planet not classified as uninhabitable? Kirok waited for the shock to pass. Then he spoke. I have been researching human history. What I found is disturbing. They developed agriculture only 10,000 years ago. Before that, they spent millions of years as hunters, pursuit hunters who chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. He pulled up images of Earth's animals, lions, bears, sharks, crocodiles. These are some of the predators that humans evolved alongside. They learned to survive in an environment where everything wanted to kill them. But they made it to space, Thessa said. They built ships. They found us. Yes, Kirok agreed. They developed technology rapidly. Do you know why? He paused. Because they learned to cooperate. On a world like Earth, no individual survives alone. So they formed groups, tribes, nations. They learned to work together against common threats. He showed them more data. They also developed something we call persistence. Most species give up when things become difficult. Humans do not. They keep trying, keep pushing, keep fighting. Their world taught them that survival requires constant effort. The council chamber was silent. Every member was thinking the same thing. These humans were dangerous, incredibly dangerous. But were they a threat? The answer came from an unexpected source. Captain Villara entered the chamber. She had been invited to testify about her rescue. Honored council members, Villara said. I know you are afraid of the humans. I was too. When I first saw them, working in that cold and toxic environment, I thought they were monsters. Creatures without feeling or fear, she paused. But I was wrong. The humans are not monsters. Yes, they are strong. Yes, they are dangerous. But they use that strength to protect others. They risked their lives to save strangers. They fought because we could not fight for ourselves. They are not monsters. They are guardians. Her words hung in the air. The council members looked at each other, uncertain. We should make them allies, Villara said firmly, before someone else makes them enemies. While the council debated, humans were becoming a sensation on the station. Everyone wanted to see them, to meet them, to understand them. Captain Sarah Chen did not understand what all the fuss was about. She and her crew were just doing their jobs. They gave interviews to various news organizations, answered questions from curious species, and tried to be polite. But every conversation revealed something new about humans that shocked the listeners. At one gathering, a young alien asked Jackson about human medicine. We heard you can heal from injuries that would kill other species. Is that true? Jackson shrugged. Our bodies are pretty good at repairing themselves. Broken bones heal in a few weeks. Cuts seal up fast. We can even regrow liver tissue if we lose part of it. The alien stared at him in disbelief. Most species required extensive medical intervention for even minor injuries. At another meeting, someone asked Rodriguez about Earth's environment. We read that you have extreme temperature variations. How do you survive? Well, we adapt, Rodriguez said. Humans live everywhere on Earth, from deserts where it reaches 50 degrees to Arctic areas where it drops to -40. We just wear appropriate clothing and build shelter. You can survive a 90-degree temperature range? An alien scientist asked in shock. Sure. I mean, it is not comfortable, but we manage. The scientist immediately began taking notes. This was revolutionary biological data. The most surprising moment came when Okonkwo shared a meal with some station residents. He had brought food from the Indomitable's stores. Human food. This is called hot sauce, Okonkwo explained, pouring red liquid on his meal. Made from peppers. I like it spicy. A curious alien asked to try some. Okonkwo warned them to use just a tiny drop. The alien ignored the warning and took a large spoonful. What followed required medical attention. The capsaicin in the hot sauce was a chemical weapon to most species. But humans ate it for fun. Why? The medical staff asked Okonkwo while treating the alien. Why do you eat something that causes pain? It tastes good, Okonkwo replied, genuinely confused by their confusion. A xenobiologist did research and discovered something amazing. Humans consumed dozens of substances that were toxic or painful to other species. Capsaicin, ethanol, caffeine, theobromine. Some cultures even ate slightly poisonous fish as a delicacy. They are not just resistant to their world's dangers, the xenobiologist reported. They have learned to enjoy them. Over the next few days, more information about Earth spread through the station. People learned about human music, human art, human stories. They learned that humans had thousands of different cultures, languages, and beliefs. They learned that humans could be gentle and kind, despite their dangerous origins. But they also learned that humans never gave up, never surrendered, never left anyone behind. Then, a week after the Valerians were rescued, new information reached the council station. Urgent information that changed everything. Ambassador Kirok called an emergency session. His face was grim. The Maltheran hegemony has attacked 3 border colonies. They hit fast and hard. Hundreds of thousands of civilians are at risk. The Maltheran hegemony was the council's oldest problem, an aggressive empire that believed in expansion through conquest. For centuries, they had tested the council's borders, raiding colonies and taking resources. The council had always responded with defensive strategies, evacuations, negotiations, payoffs. It was not glorious, but it kept the peace most of the time. Where are the nearest council defense fleets? Thessa asked. 5 days away from the closest colony, Kirok replied. The Maltherans will have destroyed everything by then. Silence fell over the chamber. Everyone knew what this meant. They could not save those colonies. Not in time. Then a junior aide spoke up, her voice shaking. There are human ships in that sector. 3 of them, including the Indomitable. Every head turned. The council members looked at each other. We cannot ask them, someone said. We barely know them. They have no obligation to help us. But they helped the Valerians, Velara pointed out. Strangers who meant nothing to them. If we ask, they might help. Thessa's tentacles curled with uncertainty. If we ask humans to fight for us, we are admitting that we need warriors. That diplomacy has failed. Diplomacy did fail, Velara said bluntly. The Maltherans are attacking civilians, children, and we have warriors available. Warriors who prove they can fight and win. We just have to ask. The debate went on for hours, but in the end the decision was made. The council would send a request to the human ships in the border sector. Request for help. When the message reached the Indomitable, Sarah Chen read it carefully. Then she pulled up the details of the Maltheran attack. Civilian colonies, families, children. She did not hesitate. Tanaka. Plot a course to the nearest colony under attack. Maximum speed. Captain, we have not received authorization from Earth, Tanaka pointed out. Sarah smiled grimly. Then we will apologize later. Right now people need help. That is all the authorization I need. She opened a channel to the other 2 human ships in the sector. This is Captain Chen. I am responding to the Maltheran attacks. Anyone who wants to join me, form up on my position. Both ships responded immediately. We are with you, Captain. 3 human ships turned toward the Maltheran fleet. They were outnumbered, outgunned, flying into a battle that was not their fight, but they were human, and humans had one rule they never broke. They did not leave people behind. The colony world of Thrace 7 had been peaceful for 300 years. Its inhabitants were farmers and artists, people who had left the busy core worlds to live simple lives. They had built beautiful cities with gardens and schools. They had families. They had hope. Then the Maltheran hegemony arrived. 5 heavy warships appeared in orbit. They did not bother with warnings or demands. They just started firing. Orbital bombardment struck the cities. Thousands died in the first hour. The survivors fled to underground shelters. They sent desperate messages asking for help. But they knew help would not come in time. The Council's fleets were too far away. They were going to die on this peaceful world and no one would save them. They were wrong. The Indomitable and her 2 sister ships dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system. Sarah Chen took one look at the tactical display and felt her jaw tighten. 5 Maltheran warships, each one twice the size of her vessel. Captain, we are heavily outnumbered, Tanaka said quietly. I know, Sarah replied, but those people down there are dying. We are all they have. She opened a channel to the other human ships. Captain Morrison of the Darwin and Captain Zhao of the Curiosity appeared on her screen. We all see the odds, Sarah said. No one will blame you if you want to wait for backup. Morrison, a gray-haired woman with scars on her face, smiled. Captain Chen, I have been in worse situations. Let us go save some people. Zhao, a young man who looked barely old enough to command a ship, nodded. My grandfather always said that humans are at their best when things look impossible. Time to prove him right. Sarah felt pride swell in her chest. This was humanity. This is what Earth had made them. People who ran toward danger instead of away from it. All right, Sarah said. Here is the plan. On the Maltharan flagship, Commander Zath watched his forces bombard the colony. It was efficient work. The colonists had no defenses, no warships. They were like animals waiting for slaughter. Commander, 3 unknown vessels approaching, his sensor officer reported. Zath barely looked up. Probably council scouts. Ignore them. Continue bombardment. Sir, they are hailing us. Now Zath looked. 3 small ships. Tiny compared to his fleet. Put them through. A human face appeared on his screen. Female. Young. With predator eyes that looked directly at him. Maltharan vessels. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Nations ship Indomitable. You are attacking civilians in violation of galactic law. Cease your bombardment immediately and withdraw, or we will stop you. Zath laughed. His crew laughed with him. 3 tiny ships threatening his entire fleet. It was ridiculous. Little human, you are outnumbered 5-3. Your ships are smaller, weaker. Leave now, or we will add your wreckage to this world's ruins. The human did not look afraid. She just looked disappointed. We gave you a chance, she said. Remember that. The channel closed. Zath shook his head. Destroy those ships, then continue with the bombardment. The Maltharan fleet turned to face the human vessels. They launched missiles. Dozens of them. Enough firepower to vaporize the human ships. Then something happened that Zath had never seen before. The human ships did not run. They accelerated forward directly into the missile swarm. Point defense systems came online. The human ships danced through the missiles, shooting them down with incredible precision. Their pilots flew patterns that should have been impossible. Turns that should have torn their ships apart. How are they doing that? Zath's weapons officer asked in shock. They are pulling extreme G-forces, the sensor officer reported. Levels that should kill any crew. But humans were not like any crew. Their bodies were built for Earth's heavy gravity. 9Gs was intense but survivable, and their pilots trained at those levels regularly. The 3 human ships broke through the missile swarm. They split up, each targeting a different Maltharan vessel. The Indomitable went after the flagship. Sarah watched the tactical display, her mind working fast. The Maltharan ship had heavy armor and shields. Direct assault would not work. She needed to be smart. Tanaka, take us in close. Use the planet's gravity well. Captain, that is really dangerous. I know. Do it. The Indomitable dove toward the planet, using its gravity to slingshot around. The maneuver was risky. One mistake and they would crash into the atmosphere. But Tanaka's hands were steady. Years of training. Years of flying in Earth's complex gravity and weather. The slingshot worked perfectly. The Indomitable came around the planet at tremendous speed, approaching the flagship from below, where its shields were weakest. Okonkwo, target their weapons arrays. Everything we have. The Indomitable's weapons blazed. The shots hit the flagship's underside, tearing through weak points. Explosions rippled across the Maltharan ship's hull. Its main weapons went offline. Zath grabbed his command chair as his ship shook. What just happened? The human ship used a gravity slingshot, his sensor officer reported. They hit us where our shields are thinnest. That maneuver should have torn their ship apart, but it did not, Commander. Zath realized then that he had made a mistake. A terrible mistake. These humans were not like other species. They fought differently, thought differently. They took risks that no sane commander would take, and it was working. The Darwin had engaged 2 Maltharan vessels at once. Captain Morrison used tactics that made no sense by traditional standards. She would retreat, making the enemy chase her. Then she would suddenly reverse, catching them off guard. She used asteroids as weapons, shooting them into the enemy's path. She was making the Maltharans fight on her terms. The Curiosity was doing something even more audacious. Captain Zhao had positioned his ship between a Maltharan vessel and the planet. The Maltharans could not fire without hitting the colony they were supposed to be attacking. You are using our targets as shields? A Maltharan captain demanded over the comm. I am protecting innocents, Zhao replied. If you want to shoot through civilians to get to me, go ahead. Show the galaxy what you really are. The Maltharan captain hesitated. That hesitation was all Zhao needed. He fired, disabling the enemy's weapons. In the colony below, the survivors watched the battle through their shelter's monitors. They saw 3 small human ships fighting 5 massive Maltharan warships. They saw the humans winning. Who are they? A mother asked, holding her child close. Humans, someone said. From Earth. I have heard of them, an old colonist said. They come from a death world. A place so dangerous that it made them into something special. Are they helping us? The old colonist nodded. Yes, because that is what they do. The battle lasted 2 hours. 2 hours of constant fighting. The human ships took damage. The Indomitable's shields failed. The Darwin lost an engine. The Curiosity had hull breaches on 3 decks, but they did not retreat. They did not give up. They just kept fighting. Finally, Zath accepted reality. His flagship was crippled. 3 of his other ships were disabled. Only 1 vessel was still combat capable, and it was damaged. All ships retreat, Zath ordered. Get us out of here. The Malthuran fleet limped away, jumping to FTL as soon as they cleared the gravity well. They left behind their disabled ships and their pride. The 3 human vessels stayed in orbit, protecting the colony until Council peacekeepers arrived 6 hours later. When Sarah finally had a moment to breathe, she opened a channel to the colony. This is Captain Chen. You are safe now. Medical teams are on their way. The response was not what she expected. Thousands of voices all speaking at once. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sarah felt tears in her eyes. She had to look away from the screen. This was why she did this job. This moment right here. 3 weeks later, Sarah stood in the Galactic Council chambers. The room was packed with representatives from hundreds of species. She wore her dress uniform, feeling uncomfortable under all the attention. Ambassador Kirok stepped forward. Captain Sarah Chen, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we wish to express our gratitude. You and your fellow captains saved 50,000 lives on Thrace 7. You fought when you had no obligation to fight. You risked everything for strangers. He paused. The Council has debated for many days about humanity's place in our community. We were afraid of you, afraid of what your species could do. But you have shown us something important. You have shown us that strength without compassion is tyranny, but strength with compassion is heroism. Kirok held out a data tablet. The Galactic Council formally requests a defensive alliance with Earth. We ask that humanity help us protect the innocent. Help us stand against those who would harm the weak. Sarah took the tablet and read the terms. They were fair, generous even. The Council was not asking for conquest or domination, just protection. I cannot speak for all of Earth, Sarah said carefully, but I can tell you what I think. Humans learned a long time ago that we are stronger together, that we survive by helping each other. I think Earth would be honored to stand with the Council. 3 months later, Earth's official response arrived. The alliance was approved. Human rescue ships and defense vessels would be stationed throughout Council space. They would train with other species, share their knowledge, and protect those who could not protect themselves. Captain Valara attended the signing ceremony. She watched Sarah Chen shake hands with Council members, saw other humans mixing with various species. She thought about that terrible day in the Corvin Nebula, when her crew was dying and hope seemed